Welcome, tennis fans, to another thrilling episode. As the U.S. Open approaches, all eyes are on Novak Djokovic. Fresh off his first Olympic gold, Djokovic is setting his sights on a historic 25th Grand Slam title. Could this be the moment that cements his legacy as the greatest of all time? And before we start, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates as the US Open unfolds. Leave a comment below with your predictions. Novak Djokovic is back dining at tennis top table and looking to make yet more history at the US Open. With a gold medal secured in Paris earlier this month, one that had proven so elusive through his four prior Olympic attempts, Djokovic, age 37, became just the fifth player to claim the sport's Golden Slam, following in the footsteps of Steffi Graf, Andre Agassi, Rafael Nadal, and Serena Williams. Now the Serb chases a 25th Grand Slam success at Flushing Meadows, one which would see him break his current tie on 24 with Australia's Margaret Court. Of all the mountains that Djokovic has conquered, this is surely the lone peak that remains before he has quite literally completed tennis. And it's one that looked highly unlikely for much of 2024. The question on everyone's mind is, can he keep this form and break yet another record in New York? His performance at the Olympics and the significance of that win, his preparation and mental state going into the U.S. Open, the physical and emotional toll of playing back-to-back high-stakes tournaments. Now, let's talk about the historic 25th Grand Slam. With 24 Grand Slam titles under his belt, Djokovic is already a tennis legend. But securing the 25th at the U.S. Open would take him to a new level of greatness. At the age of 37 and facing a 21-year-old who is probably the best player in the world right now, winning Roland-Garros and Wimbledon back-to-back, I can say that this is probably the biggest sporting success I have ever had, insisted Djokovic. Sinner arrives at the final slam of the season, having captured the Cincinnati Masters title. However, that triumph was quickly overshadowed when it emerged he had been cleared of any wrongdoing after twice testing positive for a banned substance earlier in the season. Sinner tested positive for clostebol, an anabolic agent prohibited at all times by the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA. But he escaped a lengthy ban after officials accepted his explanation that the substance had entered his system as a result of contamination from a support team member. I will now put this challenging and deeply unfortunate period behind me, said Sinner. The green light for him to continue playing was blasted as ridiculous by Australian player Nick Kyrgios. Alcaraz, who won his first major at the U.S. Open in 2022, was badly bruised by his defeat to Djokovic in the Olympic final. He broke down in tears on court before admitting he felt he had let Spain down. His build-up to New York wasn't helped by a second-round exit in Cincinnati to Gael Monfils in a match which saw the usually composed Alcaraz smash his racket on court. What this 25th title would mean for Djokovic's career, how this achievement would compare to other tennis legends, the potential impact on his legacy in the sport. He went winless for the early part of the season, losing his world number one ranking to Jannik Sinner as the young Italian followed up his maiden slam success at the Australian Open with victory 2 at the Miami Open. Sinner beat Djokovic along the way at the semifinal stage in Melbourne to make it 3 wins and 4 over the aging tennis great. Add to that Djokovic's knee injury that curtailed his quarterfinal run at the French Open and the ease at which Carlos Alcaraz dispatched of him for a second straight year in the Wimbledon final, in straight sets, you'd be forgiven for thinking there was a changing of the guard and that another one of men's tennis Big Four was on his way out. But one thing that has been most apparent during those 2 decades in which Djokovic, the now retired Roger Federer and Andy Murray, and the creaking Rafael Nadal dominated the sport, never write Djokovic off. That a mere 3 weeks after his hammering at the hands of Alcaraz at his near spiritual home of SW19, where he's won 7 of his 24 slams, Djokovic produced a stunning display on the Roland-Garros clay to gain revenge over the Spaniard, sparking wild and emotional celebrations. It was the one piece of the puzzle that was missing, and at the age of 37, this was his last chance, Sky Sports' Tim Hemmons said. The whole sort of psychology and the pressure around it, it must have been absolutely immense. And then add the fact that he was playing Alcaraz, who was at the top of his game, for Djokovic to come through and win that was absolutely incredible. Despite the obvious relief and emotion his Olympic triumph brought with it, there is no looming threat of retirement. Djokovic stated after Wimbledon, "I don't have any limitations in my mind. I still want to keep going and play as long as I feel like I can play on this high level." Then, when speaking at Serbia's celebration of their Olympic medalists, he even hinted at continuing on till he's 41 in the hope of defending his gold medal. "I'll try to make it to Los Angeles," he said. "That might be stretching what's physically possible, given the knee